the galaxy has been at war for longer than any being alive can remember. It is a war of extinction, a battle that consumes entire star systems, reduces planets to rubble, and sends civilizations back to the dust from which they rose. On one side stands the Idrex Dominion, a brutal, sprawling empire that has conquered half the known galaxy. The Idrex are masters of war, their fleets vast and technologically superior, their soldiers unyielding and indoctrinated. For them, this is not just a war, it is a holy mission, a cleansing of the galaxy from the weak and unworthy. On the other side is a ragtag coalition of resistance worlds, an alliance born out of desperation. The Free Worlds Coalition, as they call themselves, is a patchwork of species, each with its own culture, technology, and way of life. Some have advanced plasma weapons, others still rely on crude ballistic projectiles. Some are evolved from reptilian ancestors, others from avian or insectoid. But they share a common goal: to survive the relentless advance of the Idrex. Yet, survival seems less likely with each passing cycle. Their fleets, though filled with brave souls, are outmatched and outgunned. Their planets, though rich with history and life, are blockaded or bombarded until all that remains is silence. The latest string of defeats has been devastating. Outposts along the Exxon belt have fallen, one after another, their defenders cut down like chaff. The resistance is being driven back, inch by bloody inch, to their last bastion worlds. Their soldiers fight with the ferocity of the desperate, but it is clear to any observer that they are losing. The Idrex have perfected the art of psychological warfare, crushing hope before crushing bones. On the battlefield, their warships loom like dark omens, their edges sharp, their weapons crackling with untold energy. They strike with precision and cold indifference, turning space battles into orchestrated massacres. In the command chambers of the Free Worlds Coalition, tension and despair seep through the air like a toxin. Strategic maps flicker with red, the color of worlds lost, of lines broken, of lives ended. Admiral Kthay, a veteran from the insectoid AELRI, sits with her wings folded tightly, her mandibles clicking in a rhythm that betrays her anxiety. She looks at her fellow commanders, an aquatic general whose gills flare with every breath, a reptilian tactician whose scales have dulled from stress, and a psionic sage whose energy seems more like a dying ember than a blazing flame. They are losing, and they know it. But amid this despair, rumors begin to circulate, a message, intercepted from the fringes of the known galaxy. It's a simple, garbled transmission, yet one that carries with it a spark of intrigue, the emergence of a new species, a new player on the galactic stage. The humans. The name is unfamiliar, almost laughably simple. What could they possibly bring to this war that the Coalition's finest cannot? Some dismiss it as noise, a distraction. Others, more desperate, cling to it like a lifeline. Kthay's antennae twitch as she considers this new variable. Could there be hope in the unknown? Across the divide, aboard the Idrex Command Dreadnought, Supreme Commander Zarlok receives the same intercepted message. His chitinous exoskeleton glints under the cold artificial lights, and his 8 eyes narrow with calculated malice. He is an ancient being, having seen countless battles, each more brutal than the last. The idea of a new species entering the fray intrigues him. He has seen what desperation does to lesser beings. He knows that fear is more potent than any weapon. If this new species, these humans, are foolish enough to enter the war, they will either kneel before the Idrex or be obliterated like all the rest. Zarloka's claws tap against the metal surface of the command table, each tap sending a shiver through the room. He makes a decision. Send scouts, he hisses. We will learn what we need to. And if they are a threat, we will crush them before they even realize they are at war. Meanwhile, scattered whispers ripple through the ranks of the Coalition forces. What are these humans? Where do they come from? Are they warriors, traitors, or simply another species doomed to fall under the Empire's iron fist? No one knows. But in a war where every ounce of hope is worth more than gold, the mystery of humanity becomes a point of speculation and, for some, a quiet prayer. The war rages on, a machine of death that cannot be stopped. But the gears have shifted slightly. Somewhere, on a small blue planet orbiting an unremarkable star, a species prepares to step into the unknown. Their impact is uncertain, but the galaxy is about to learn what happens when humans are pushed to the brink, and that they, too, have a choice, to kneel or to stand and fight. A faint distress signal cuts through the cosmic background noise, an emergency beacon from a coalition outpost, sent in a desperate plea for help. For a moment, it drifts, unnoticed, across the void. Then, deep in the Sol system, it is intercepted by a human listening post, nestled within the asteroid belt. There's a brief moment of confusion among the analysts, their screens filled with alien script and a shaky audio transmission. This isn't the usual space junk or stray signal. After a hurried decryption process, the contents are revealed, a distress call from an unknown species, outnumbered and outgunned. A coalition, a war, and a desperate cry for help. Within hours, the message reaches Earth's command. Humanity's leaders, those from Earth, Luna, Mars, and the burgeoning colonies of the outer belt, convene to discuss the implications. The details are vague, but one thing is clear, there's a larger galactic conflict raging beyond their relatively isolated corner of space. A debate ensues. Some argue that humanity should remain hidden, secure in its newfound stability after decades of interplanetary disputes. Others, bolder voices, see opportunity. After all, humanity has always thrived in chaos. Curiosity wins the day, as it often does. Humanity decides to reach out, not with an olive branch, nor a sword, but with a cautious, steady hand. A small fleet, comprising the United Earth Navy's Expeditionary Force, sets out. It is a modest flotilla by galactic standards, but each ship is a marvel of human ingenuity, built with an eye for versatility in unconventional tactics. Human ships lack the grandeur of the Idrex dreadnoughts or the sleek elegance of some coalition vessels. They are utilitarian, designed for adaptability, bristling with modular weapon systems and cloaked in a reflective alloy that distorts energy readings. It is clear from the start, humanity does not play by the galaxy's established rules. The human ships arrive at the source of the signal, a dying world at the edge of coalition space, surrounded by wreckage and the drifting hulks of a lost battle. They find survivors, a handful of coalition ships barely holding together, their systems failing, and their crews exhausted. Human marines, clad in heavy combat suits and armed with weapons that defy immediate categorization, board the first coalition cruiser. The alien eyes that meet them are filled with equal parts hope and dread. Admiral Kthay, leading the remnants of the coalition fleet, watches the humans carefully. She has heard rumors of these newcomers, reckless, unpredictable, perhaps even suicidal. Yet, as she observes their discipline, their readiness, she begins to think otherwise. Her psionic sage, a frail but sharp-eyed being from a distant star, senses something in these humans, a determination that burns hotter than their technology, an audacity that hints at either madness or brilliance. They are not like us, the sage whispers, but they are not like the Idrex either. A transmission is sent. Admiral Kthay speaks to the human commander, Captain Elias Ward, across the empty space between them. Her voice is filled with weariness, but also with a flicker of cautious hope. She explains their plight, the relentless Idrex advance, the fractured coalition, the impending collapse of resistance. She does not beg, for she knows the futility of that. She simply states the facts. Ward listens carefully. His expression is stern, his demeanor calm. He knows his orders are clear: do not get entangled in a war that does not concern humanity. Yet, there is a glint in his eyes, a gleam of something ancient and primal. We didn't come here to die for a cause we don't understand, he says plainly, his voice steady and strong. But if we stand by and do nothing while the galaxy burns, we might be next in line. We help where we can, and in return, we learn about this enemy of yours, and if they're worth worrying about. The coalition leaders are divided. Some, hardened by loss and betrayal, believe this is yet another attempt to manipulate or betray them. Others, too desperate to care, see it as a sliver of salvation. And a few see the truth, that these humans, while appearing cautious, are far more dangerous than they let on. They have not asked for anything yet, but that in itself is unsettling. The question lingers, what is their real agenda? Meanwhile, on the Idrex dreadnought, Supreme Commander Zarlok receives word of the human presence. He leans forward, his many eyes narrowing with interest. The humans' decision to aid the coalition, even tentatively, suggests a defiance that intrigues him. He wonders if they understand what it means to cross the Idrex dominion. He orders a small fleet to observe the humans, to assess their potential not just as another enemy, but perhaps as a tool, or a trophy. The Dominion's doctrine is clear: every new species must be evaluated, exploited or exterminated. The tension thickens in the empty space between the battered coalition ships and the newly arrived human fleet. Both sides know this is just the beginning. Humanity is a wild card, unpredictable and unproven. Yet, for the first time in a long while, there is a stirring of something the coalition thought they had lost: uncertainty. Humanity's presence sends a ripple across the galactic stage. The game is changing, and the stakes are higher than ever. And as both sides brace for what comes next, one thing is clear: the humans have made contact, and nothing will ever be the same again. The Battle of the Broken Stars begins in a distant, forgotten corner of the galaxy, a system marked on few maps but now destined to be remembered. Here, in a star system littered with the shattered remains of ancient cosmic bodies, the Resistance makes its final stand. Surrounded on three sides by the imposing might of the Idrex Empire, the Coalition fleet is trapped. The Empire's forces, a wave of dark, sleek ships glimmering with malice, move in for the kill, confident of an easy victory. The Resistance is weary, its ships battered and its morale all but broken. The Coalition's admirals, hardened by years of retreat and loss, know this is the end unless something changes. And something does change. Humanity arrives. In the heart of the Coalition fleet, a small contingent of human ships slips into formation. They are few in number, almost laughably so compared to the vast armadas on either side. An uneasy murmur ripples through the Coalition ranks. Some still don't trust these newcomers, these humans, who have offered their help. They are an unknown quantity, with their strange ships and cryptic commanders. Yet desperation has a way of bending stubborn wills, and so, with little left to lose, the Coalition allows them a place in the line. The humans position themselves off-center, near a cluster of asteroid debris, an odd choice that leaves some Resistance captains perplexed. Within the Empire's flagship, the mighty dreadnought Inevitable Ascendant, Grand Marshal Thalrax observes the human fleet through narrowed eyes. Tall and gaunt, his elongated features contorted in an expression of disdain, he cannot help but scoff. To him, humanity is a mere footnote in galactic history, a primitive, backwater species that only recently crawled out of its own star system. Send the vanguard forward, he orders, his voice a cold, calculated whisper. Test these humans. Crush them quickly, then finish off the Resistance. The vanguard ships surge forward, their formations tight and flawless, a testament to the Idrex Empire's military precision. The humans, in stark contrast, do not follow standard battle doctrine. Their ships begin to move erratically, scattering and weaving in a pattern that defies conventional tactics. Some Coalition commanders mistake it for panic or incompetence. But soon, it becomes clear that there is something more to it, a rhythm, a purpose behind the chaos. The first volley from the Idrex fleet is met not by a counterattack but by a burst of electromagnetic interference. Human ships release an invisible net of electronic warfare, scrambling targeting systems and confusing enemy sensors. Idrex gunners, trained to fight disciplined and predictable enemies, find themselves firing at ghosts, their targeting computers feeding them false data. Their shots go wide, some even striking their own allies in the confusion. The Coalition, watching in awe, begins to understand, this is not madness, it is strategy. Then, the human ships strike. Not with overwhelming force, but with precision. They move in small, agile packs, darting in and out of the asteroid field, using it as cover. In moments, they appear and vanish, launching salvos of missiles and railgun rounds with pinpoint accuracy. They target weak points, engines, weapon arrays, command bridges, crippling the Vanguard's most vital systems before retreating back into cover. The Idrex Vanguard, caught off guard and in disarray, struggles to regroup. They are used to overwhelming their enemies with sheer firepower, not this. Aboard the Coalition flagship, Admiral Kthay watches the humans' maneuvers with wide-eyed astonishment. They fight like predators, she mutters, not prey. She has never seen such audacity in battle, this willingness to dance so close to death, to toy with the enemy's expectations and then strike where it hurts the most. Her respect for the humans, cautious as it was, begins to grow. Within the Empire's command center, Grand Marshal Thalrax's amusement has turned to rage. Incompetent fools, he snarls at his subordinates, as his eyes bore holes into the tactical display. Regroup the fleet. Cut off their retreat. Show these humans the price of defiance. His ships form up again, this time focusing their efforts on surrounding the human vessels. The Imperial ships are fast and powerful, and they tighten the noose swiftly. But the humans are already a step ahead. Using the debris field, they feign a retreat, drawing the Idrex ships deeper into the cluttered area. It's a bait-and-trap tactic, designed to funnel the enemy into a narrow corridor between two massive asteroids. The Idrex, intent on crushing their prey, take the bait. And that's when the humans reveal their trump card, a series of magnetically accelerated mines, previously hidden amongst the debris, now activated remotely. A chain reaction erupts. A dozen Idrex ships are caught in the blast, their shields unable to withstand the sudden, concentrated energy surge. Explosions ripple through their ranks, tearing hulls apart, and the Vanguard is shattered. Panic ripples through the remaining Idrex forces as they scramble to regain control, their tight formations now a chaotic scramble of ships trying to escape the debris field. The Coalition forces seize the opportunity. Inspired by the humans' bold tactics, they rally, pressing the attack. Fighters and bombers swarm from all sides, hammering the disoriented Imperial ships. The Idrex fleet, which had expected a quick victory, finds itself suddenly outmaneuvered and outgunned. For the first time in years, they are forced into a full retreat, their lines broken and their pride wounded. On the bridge of the inevitable ascendant, Grand Marshal Thalrax seethes. This wasn't supposed to happen. His great plan, his inevitable victory, undone by a species he considered insignificant. Humans, he hisses, the word like venom on his tongue. We underestimated them. We will not make that mistake again. As the dust settles, the Coalition commanders are left in stunned silence. Victory wasn't supposed to be possible, not here, not today. Yet here they stand, victorious. And as they look to their human allies, they see something unfamiliar but desperately needed, a spark of hope. Captain Ward's voice crackles over the comms, calm but firm. This war isn't over yet. But we've shown them we won't go quietly. We can fight. And if they want to see what humanity is capable of, they're in for a hell of a surprise. The news spreads like wildfire through the vast expanse of the galaxy. From the desolate mining colonies on the edges of the spiral arm to the bustling trade hubs of the core worlds, every communications channel hums with the same, electrifying message: the humans have won a battle against the Idrex Empire. A small contingent of ships, newcomers to the stars, had turned the tide of a conflict thought to be unwinnable. In a single day, they had changed the calculus of the galactic war. On the planet Dristan 6, a grim, ash-covered world under the crushing boot of the Idrex for decades, a small group of rebels huddles around a flickering hollow feed. Their faces, lined with despair and fatigue, light up with a spark of hope they haven't felt in years. They say the humans fought like nothing they've ever seen, one whispers, disbelief mixed with a glimmer of awe. Maybe this is the beginning of something, maybe we aren't alone in this anymore. Among these beaten souls, the embers of rebellion stir anew. Across the galaxy, in the neutral corridors of the Arthan Trade Consortium, the news causes a different kind of stir. Merchants and diplomats gather, exchanging furtive glances and hushed whispers. The humans were an unknown variable, but now they have proven to be a force to reckon with. Some see opportunity, alliances that could be forged, profit that could be made. Others see danger, a threat to the delicate balance of power that keeps their trade routes open and their pockets lined. In private chambers, deals are debated, contingencies planned. The universe, it seems, is on the brink of a shift, and the Arthan know they must adapt to survive. Within the heart of the Idrex Empire, the news is met with disbelief, followed by a seething fury. The grand halls of the Imperial High Command echo with the sharp clatter of claws on marble as military strategists and politicians argue. They're a minor species, barely beyond their own gravity well, one snarls, pounding a fist on the table. This was a fluke, nothing more. But the room falls silent as Grand Vizier Exorcath, an ancient and cunning strategist, raises his voice. Do not be so quick to dismiss them. The humans have defied our expectations, and that makes them dangerous. If we do not crush this spark now, it could ignite a wildfire. The High Command's fear turns to paranoia. They begin to see human hands in every shadow, every whisper of dissent in their conquered territories. Their response is swift and brutal, rounding up suspected sympathizers, increasing surveillance on occupied worlds, deploying more troops to sectors showing signs of resistance. In doing so, they only stoke the flames of rebellion. Their iron grip becomes a stranglehold, and the galaxy begins to choke. Meanwhile, among the scattered resistance factions, there is a newfound energy. Messages fly back and forth between old allies and rivals. Did you hear? The humans aren't just another race, they're a symbol, a turning point. In smoky backrooms and hidden bunkers, leaders who once despaired now speak of opportunity. If the humans can beat the Empire, maybe we can too. We just need to unify, to strike while the iron is hot. Old grudges are set aside, and new alliances are forged in the shadow of this hope. For the first time in years, the Resistance has a rallying point, a reason to believe they can win. Across all these worlds, the humans become a subject of intense curiosity and debate. What drives them? How did a species so young, so inexperienced in galactic affairs, achieve the impossible? On Kiro 9, a world renowned for its scholars and philosophers, a heated symposium unfolds. Humans, an aged Kthari professor declares, are driven by something beyond mere survival. They speak of freedom, of determination, of a will to resist domination. This is not just another race, they carry an ideology, a fire that spreads. And indeed, aboard the human flagship Resolute, that fire burns brightly. Captain Ward stands before his crew, his eyes steely but filled with purpose. We didn't come here to conquer or to be conquered. We came because we know what it means to fight for our right to exist, for our freedom. This galaxy is a vast place, full of wonders, but also full of darkness. If we are to survive here, we must stand against that darkness, not just for ourselves, but for all who dare to dream of a better future. His words resonate, not just with his own crew but with the Resistance fighters listening in on their encrypted channels. Humanity's philosophy spreads like a virus of hope. It is a stark contrast to the cold, oppressive order of the Empire. The humans do not fight for territory or for dominance, they fight because they refuse to bow, because they believe in the right to choose their own path. It is an idea that resonates deeply with those who have known only chains. But hope and inspiration come at a cost. The Empire, now fully aware of the threat humanity poses, begins to move. In the shadowed depths of their war councils, a plan takes shape, a plan to crush the humans once and for all, to show the galaxy that their defiance will not be tolerated. Fleets are mobilized, resources reallocated. The full might of the Idrex war machine begins to turn, its sights set on this new, audacious enemy. The galaxy braces itself for the coming storm. On countless worlds, oppressed people look to the stars, whispering prayers or curses, depending on which side they favor. Neutral systems, once content to sit on the sidelines, now reconsider their stances. To join the fight could mean salvation or destruction, to remain passive could mean being left behind in a new era shaped by these strange, defiant newcomers. In the vast emptiness of space, where the stars themselves seem to hold their breath, a galactic shockwave builds. It is a wave of fear and hope, of defiance and oppression, of survival and annihilation. And at its center, humanity stands firm, ready to face whatever comes next. For they have made their choice, not just to survive, but to fight. And fight they will. The galaxy holds its breath as the Empire prepares for its most devastating assault yet. Massive warships, dark and foreboding, amass at the edges of known space. Each vessel, bristling with weaponry and fortified shields, is a symbol of the Empire's unyielding might and ruthless ambition. Word spreads quickly, this is not a mere show of force. This is the extermination fleet, the largest mobilized in generations, and it has one goal: to crush the resistance once and for all, with humanity at the heart of its target. Within the resistance command center, a sense of grim determination settles over the assembled leaders. They know the stakes. This battle is not just for survival, but for the future of the galaxy. Humanity, having proven their mettle in previous skirmishes, now sits at the table, integrated into the Resistance's highest levels of command. Maps and star charts are laid out, showing the strategic points that must be held to survive the coming onslaught. Admiral Ward, a human leader who has gained respect and admiration from his alien allies, speaks with calm authority. They're coming with everything they've got. If we break here, there will be no second chances. The battle begins with a deafening silence, as both fleets move into position in the dark void between the stars. The Resistance fleet, though reinforced with humanity's unique tactical knowledge, still pales in comparison to the Empire's armada. Alien commanders, veterans of decades-long conflicts, hold their breath as the first salvos are exchanged. Explosions ripple across the blackness, lighting up the void like a deadly fireworks display. Ships weave and dodge, shields flare and die, and the silence of space is punctuated by bursts of devastating energy. The initial moments are brutal. The Empire's fleets, commanded by the cunning and relentless Grand Vizier Exor-Kath, press forward with their usual calculated ferocity. Resistance ships begin to falter under the relentless barrage, and it becomes clear that without a decisive move, they will be overwhelmed. Humanity, with its unconventional tactics and raw tenacity, is the key to the plan, a high-risk maneuver that could break the Empire's formation. Ward knows the cost. This maneuver will demand sacrifice and precision, a gamble on which everything hinges. The order is given. Human ships break from their defensive line, engines burning bright as they thrust into the heart of the enemy fleet. It's a move that takes the Empire by surprise. No one expects a frontal assault against such overwhelming firepower. Alien commanders on both sides watch with a mix of horror and awe as human vessels dive headlong into the chaos, using speed, agility, and daring to punch through the enemy lines. Advanced electronic warfare systems disrupt the Empire's targeting. The precision of their formation begins to falter. As humanity's contingent cuts through the enemy ranks, chaos spreads like wildfire. Empire ships, confused and outmaneuvered, turn to face this unexpected threat, unwittingly exposing their flanks to the rest of the Resistance fleet. Now comes the command, and the Resistance forces surge forward, exploiting the gap created by humanity's bold charge. The battle becomes a swirling maelstrom of destruction, ships from both sides locked in a desperate struggle for dominance. Losses mount, the void littered with the debris of shattered vessels. Amidst the battle, a critical moment unfolds. A human frigate, the Iron Resolve, takes the brunt of an attack meant for the flagship of a key Resistance leader. The frigate's shields buckle, its hull crumples, but it holds long enough for reinforcements to arrive. Aboard the flagship, the alien commander watches in stunned silence, understanding now that humanity's courage is not a mere tactical asset but a force that inspires others to push beyond their limits. "They're mad," he mutters, "but maybe that's exactly what we needed." The tide turns as the Empire's lines begin to crumble under the combined assault. The Resistance seizes the moment, pressing the attack with everything they have. The Grand Vizier, now faced with the unraveling of his meticulously planned assault, makes a decision born of both rage and pragmatism. "Retreat," he commands, his voice cold with barely contained fury. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. The Empire's ships begin to pull back, but not in disarray, a controlled, methodical withdrawal that speaks of a foe that knows this was only the first of many battles. As the last of the Empire's ships vanish into the darkness of space, a weary but victorious cheer rises from the Resistance fleet. The relief is palpable, but so too is the understanding of what this victory truly means. The Empire, once thought invincible, has been pushed back. For the first time in years, a decisive battle has not ended in their favor. But the cost has been high. Wreckage drifts like scattered bones, a stark reminder of the sacrifices made this day. On the bridge of the Resolute, Admiral Ward stares out into the void. His face, lined with the exhaustion of battle, shows no elation, only a steely resolve. He knows that this is not the end. They've won a battle, but the war has only just begun. The Empire will not take this defeat lightly, they will return, stronger and more determined. The Resistance may have a glimmer of hope now, but the path ahead is treacherous. Messages of congratulations and thanks flood in from across the Resistance. Captains and soldiers, emboldened by the victory, speak of new campaigns, new strategies, and new alliances. Yet, amidst the chatter, a sobering reality settles in. The Empire's retreat was not a surrender, but a recalibration. They've tasted humanity's fire, and they will not be caught off guard again. Ward gathers his officers for a final word. Today, we showed the galaxy that the Empire can be beaten. That no force, no matter how overwhelming, is insurmountable. But make no mistake, this is just the beginning. The Empire will be back, and we must be ready. Not just to fight, but to endure. To hold the line until the very end, whatever it takes. The officers nod, a mix of resolve and weariness on their faces. They know the truth of his words. They are standing on the precipice of a much larger conflict, one that will define the fate of the galaxy for generations to come. As the Resistance fleet begins to regroup and repair, the stars stretch out before them, a vast, unknown expanse filled with danger and possibility. And at the center of it all, humanity stands tall, a beacon of defiance in a galaxy that had almost forgotten what it means to be truly free. This was not the end of the story, but rather the first chapter in a saga that would reshape the cosmos. For the humans, and those who stood beside them, there was no turning back now. The path ahead was dark and fraught with peril, but they would face it head-on, together. For in the deepest reaches of space, when pushed to the brink, humanity had shown the galaxy what it was truly capable of, and they were just getting started.